Happy Thursday. It has been a pretty windy week. Finally, those winds are calming down, but some pretty impressive pictures, especially from earlier this week. Thomas Rock took this in Sheboygan. You can see those waves crashing up against the lighthouse there, and some really impressive sights, of course, at Bradford Beach as well as in McKinley Marina. Look at this shot that Russ Wasserman took this of that big breaker coming up against Bradford Beach, the breakwall there. A little different story up in Port Washington. You can see those giant waves, but that is actually what created some lakeshore flooding. So Jeff Kunkel sent this in from up in Port Washington. You can see some of that water did get pushed up into a lot of the parking lots. So that's why we had the lakeshore flood advisory earlier in the week. Thankfully, things are calming down, like I said. But how exactly do these waves get so big? Wind essentially is taking all of that wind, all of that energy, and it's putting it into Lake Michigan. And on Monday, we had a southeasterly wind. So we had a long fetch or a long area, long distance for that wind to pick up energy. Eventually, it started to create micro ripples into Lake Michigan. That eventually became ripples, and then finally we got that high chop, which eventually created some pretty impressive waves, especially earlier in the week. So as those waves get closer to the shallow, it's going to keep that same energy, but it's going to create a taller wave and a shorter wavelength, which is why it looks super impressive, makes those really impressive 6 to 10 foot waves we saw earlier.